Do you want to know the real reasons why you are not finding the right house in Washington, D.C. and how to fix that? Let's talk about that today. So there's lots of people out there that are not buying lots of houses out there. But it's not because of the layoffs. It's not because of the interest rates. People are trying to buy. I write probably 3 times as many offers as I'm getting accepted. It's not my fault. It's not my client's fault. My clients are smart. And we are going to talk about the hows and whys of them getting smart. And then we're going to talk about how you can get smart too, because that is the key and why you're here, right? Now, there are people out there, believe it or not, who get in their own way. And I would like to say at this point, you know who you are. But you know what? Those people never know who they are. And sometimes it has to be nicely pointed out to them. But you cannot get in your own way. So I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama. This is my channel. This is the stuff. You can subscribe down here. I just sit down and I write these videos and I think about what people want, or I go off what my clients are asking me for, or potential people who are moving here. And then that's how I write the video, and I put everything together. We're not using Chat GPT here. We are not. All right. Here's the first reason why you are not finding the right home in Washington, D.C. You are looking for perfection. Do me a favor right now. Look at the person sitting next to you. Are they perfect? No, right? What if you're alone, like I am right now? Think of somebody in your family. Are they perfect? Also no, I bet. Some people we just get along with better than others. Other people we just don't like, and nobody's perfect. So why do we expect a home to be perfect? Well, perfect doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in people. It doesn't exist in homes. And chasing perfection is how you miss some really great homes while you are out there waiting for the unicorns. Now, before you think I am not actually talking to you, I actually am talking to you, because when you dismiss a home for a feature that can actually be fixed, there is a problem, and it's not with the home. It's with your approach and your expectations. You want to look for homes that check most of the important boxes. You want a home where the value will appreciate, and you want a home that you can make your own with the right bones, the right location, because as you know, they say location, location, location. You can change a house, you cannot change its location. I have seen buyers pass up on homes because they had wallpaper or because they didn't have a tub. You guys, you can add a tub. You can take wallpaper off. So, and the more common one that I've seen a lot is, I'm not seeing what I want. I think I'll just wait until spring when there's going to be more on the market. Do you hear yourself? It's all the same stuff that's going to be on the market. There's just more of it in the spring. But guess what comes with more houses for sale? More competition. So how do you fix this? How do you fix the search for perfection? Well, like Sharon Moonstruck said,
snap out of it.
All right, you need to figure out what you really must have in a house, and then what can you fix and take on yourself? I see this happen a lot with buyers. They start out looking for perfection, and then 6 months later, after the market has beat them over and over and over, they're like, we'll take that tent by the bus stop. It doesn't have to be that dire, but the higher your expectations, the harder you fall. All right, second reason why you are not getting the house that you want in DC. You're listening to everybody else. I know, DC is a very difficult area in which to buy a house. So when something's difficult, it is natural to want to ask family, friends for advice. And I love that your family and your friends want to help. But unless they've bought a home recently in the DC metro area, they are probably giving you advice that at best doesn't apply. At worst, it can derail your entire search. And I have also seen that happen. Your uncle who bought in 1997 and keeps telling you don't waive inspection, different market, different times, different rules. Your cousin in Ohio who says just offer 50,000 under, see what happens. They'll counter you. This isn't Ohio, you guys, and that strategy actually might cost you the house. Even your parents with the best of intentions, because they want to see you get into a home, might be operating from a version of real estate that just doesn't exist anymore. The market today is fast, it's nuanced, it's hyper-local. What worked for them won't necessarily work for you here. They don't have to live in this house, you do. They aren't writing the check, you are. So this is your life, this is your money. We appreciate their advice, we smile, and then we have to move on from it if it's not going to apply to us. So, how do you stop getting advice from family and friends? This one's easy. Don't tell them you're buying a house.
Now, the cat is out of the bag.
I mean, if the cat's already out of the bag, assure them that you are making data-driven decisions and that you have a trusted advisor or somebody like me that is helping you make a plan that works for you, not your aunt's friend who bought a foreclosure in Florida during the crash with an alligator in the pool in the backyard. All right, the third reason that you are not getting the house you want, this is going to hit close to home for some of you. You and your partner are not on the same page. This happens, you guys, more often than you would expect. And it has been happening with more regularity for some reason. And I think that's probably because the prices are really skyrocketing here. Naturally, I think everybody thinks, well, you two got married or coupled up or whatever it might be. You must share similar beliefs and desires when it comes to big ticket items like houses. And you would be wrong. I've been helping lovely clients. If they see this, they'll probably laugh at it. They've been looking for a home for a couple months. We would see 6 to 8 homes every single weekend. And they basically went from, we just started looking, something will come up, to we've seen 40 houses and we can't figure out if one of them would even work for us. And then I said, do you want my input on why you haven't found the right house? And they said yes. And normally I don't ask if people want my input. I just blurt it right out there. I said, you guys are looking for 2 different houses. And they looked at me like I had 8 heads. And then they looked at each other and they said, what? And I said, all you talk about is this gorgeous, fabulous kitchen that you're going to cook in. And all you talk about is that you want a man cave, a place you can go without children, where you can just close the door and listen to music or be who you are. And you're also very entrenched in the idea of value. You want to know that you've got a good price and a good value. And sometimes those things just don't go together, right? The big giant kitchen that speaks to a lot of people is also the same kitchen that a lot of people are going to throw money at because it's perfect and it's move-in ready and they can walk right in and start cooking right from day one. So what happened? They ended up writing an offer on a house where one could see the potential for renovations and the other could see potential for equity, and they got it figured out and they're thrilled. Now, how do you get on the same page as your partner? I mean, this seems like a simple one, you all. Like, you gotta just talk to each other. All right, I mean, I kid, it's not that simple. But you have to make a list of your must-haves and your nice-to-haves, and then you have to look at each person's must-haves, and you have to say, do these things exist in the same house? So you're gonna waste a lot of time if you guys don't figure this out before you get in the car on day one and start looking at houses. Number 4, you don't understand your purchasing power and your limits. All right, so when mortgage rates were below 3%, buyers would get pre-approved for something crazy like 6 times their income. And it was wild for a buyer who made $100,000 to see that they could buy a $600,000 home. Now that rates are higher, people are getting pre-approved for somewhere around 3 to 4 times their income level. Before you start house hunting, you have to know what this number is. And you also have to understand that just because you got approved for $700,000 and you're comfortable with that number and that mortgage payment on paper, that doesn't mean that you're going to be looking at houses for $700,000. This is often the hardest thing for people to swallow. There's not a plethora of homes at your cap price point that you're actually going to be able to lock down with a contract, because here come other bidders, and then that price just went up. So how do you fix this so that you do understand your purchasing power? Well, this is one of the hardest things for people to understand. Your purchasing on power on paper might be $700,000, but in reality, you got to dial that back. You should look for homes that are less than your cap price so that you have room to negotiate in the event that the house escalates. And most houses are still escalating in the Metro DC area. All right, last up, you have the wrong agent. I can't even believe that I'm going to tell this story, but here we are. Somebody posted on my neighborhood message board that they were under contract on a condo and there were some serious deficiencies in the condo budget. And they were looking for an attorney to review condo documents or somebody that had expertise in it. The story was that there were only 2 units in the condo. It was a converted row home. Not a fan of these, but it was split into 2 different units. And it seems that the association decided, which was really the developer, to leave them $10,000 in the hole, maybe more. The original developer couldn't sell them as condos, so he ended up renting them out as apartments for 5 years. And of course, he was not paying the monthly condo fee, but still running it like a condo. And so this isn't really how it works. The person that was buying said they needed help understanding what they could do. I replied via email and I said, I used to write condo documents for builders. It actually sounds like you need to walk away. What does your agent say? Crickets. So the agent saw no problem with this, and with their client buying a condo and having to back pay 5 years of condo dues from a time period when he wasn't even an owner. I mean, does this madness make sense to anybody? No, even you guys wouldn't do this. You don't back pay something for a time period when you didn't live there, especially on a condo, which right now are like a dime a dozen in DC. And if it's not that condo, you'll find another one. They're not super unique products here, you guys, and there's more of them, and they're always for sale. So I sat for nearly a decade on what we have here, which is a professional standards committee. And some of the things that landed agents in front of this panel were absolutely astonishing. There are lots of agents out there who just unlock doors. They don't advise, they don't protect, they just wait for the deal to close so they can promptly forget your name and never call you again. Okay, so how do you hire the right agents? Well, good agents get referred by clients to their friends. But bad agents also get referred by people to their friends. So really, it's up to you to do the research. So I can tell you how I do things, and then you can compare that to people you interview, because most people tell me that I'm the only one who explained anything to them when they were interviewing multiple agents, and that's typically what ends up landing me the client. So when you contact me, we're going to set up a time to chat. This is a quick, informational call where you'll tell me about your timeline, your motivation, and what you're looking for. And then if you need to get a loan, and most people do, I can refer you to some lenders who I know are going to do a great job with your loan. I get no money for that, not even $1, so don't think I'm getting kickbacks by sending you to my friends, the lenders. No, that's not how this works. Once you talk to them and you are comfortable with these numbers, you and I will reconvene and we'll go through the whole buying process. We talk budget, timeline, lifestyle, schools, dogs, commutes, non-negotiables. I go through the buying process step by step. This takes about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. Now, you won't remember most of what we discuss, and that's actually okay. You're going to come away, though, from our consultation knowing that I know this whole process backwards and forwards, and that you can ask me any question about anything at any time of day, and I will be able to answer that for you. So you guys, sales is not a one-size-fits-all, and buying a home, it's not just about square footage or quartz countertops. It's about making smart decisions that actually work for your family. We are going to map out a plan so you know exactly how to buy smart, and then when the right house shows up, you won't be scrambling. You will be ready. So that's it. I am Melissa Terzis. My contact info is coming next.